even now, I don't fully understand this distinction. I'm completely serious with you. Like between a checking and savings account, like even on Robinhood, I opened up their Robinhood banking app that they just rolled out. And same delineation, checking and savings. Not once am I writing a check or do I need to. The savings account is paying me yield, it looks like, and they're passing through treasury rates on it, like 4%, like a high yield savings account. I'm like, why do I have two? Like my money is sitting here and it's doing this thing. So like, I think we're beholden to weird, probably archaic phrases and systems that just mean nothing to most people anymore.
My guest today, Ash, founder of Axel, argues that blockchain is going to unlock better wealth management for everyone. Ash, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So where are we today?
We are in a big office for a company called Monad. New blockchain, lots of fancy tech under the hood, but great people who let us use it.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting us to this space and also being in Flatiron, New York City.
It's such a good area. I think you have Figma like across the street. You have the Ramp office right here too. But it's good. We used to be in FiDi, and Flatiron's just become a tech hub, which is cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
You guys go to Italy a lot?
I do. Their meatball sub is unbelievable. It's like one of my favorite lunches, yeah.
We're going to start with a bold claim that you've made,
Yep.
right? Blockchain is the closest thing to truth we have outside of science. That's a massive philosophical claim for a financial system. Could you explain what that actually means?
Yeah, very bold claim. I do mean it intentionally. When you think about guarantees and like truth, really, these are all very similar words. Truth, guarantees, what you see is what you get, like all of these phrases. I think it comes down to, is there a possibility for someone to change up the rules on you, or is what you expect what you're actually going to get? When you look at the financial world today, it's so interesting because we take almost everything for granted, and yet the implicit feeling is that this is the safest, most secure, most battle-tested, centuries-old institutions kind of system. When in reality, you don't have guarantees at all. And I'm sure we'll dive into it more, but a lot of my life and journey so far has been like learning about this as somebody who grew up, like many, just taking this stuff for granted. And then you realize people can get debanked, fees exist across the board, institutions are almost taking the wealth that you have created and parked with them and earning off of that wealth and pocketing that. And we've kind of just consented to the system. I guess getting back to the statement itself, when I think about guarantees, I know the sky is blue, I know my name is Ash, like there's certain things that are just like obvious. And then when you look at blockchains or what they strive to do, it's consensus amongst a lot of different people who maybe hate each other on arbitrary information. That could be art, that could be text, it could be the sky is blue, it could be anything. Of course, it's super powerful for financial systems, and that's a lot of what we use blockchains for. But consensus amongst all these different people on any form of information where it's immutable, it's impossible to change.
And that's inherent in blockchain.
That's the whole property, that's the whole innovation. Like when you think about what, like truly, like what does any of this tech do whenever somebody hears the word crypto or blockchain? The innovation, the whole reason why people should get excited is because you solved this issue of guarantees in technical systems. Like there's a professor at Columbia named Tim Roughgarden, who I think his description of a blockchain, he was like, I'm at a Thanksgiving dinner, I got my grandma there, she knows nothing about like any of this stuff. How do I describe a blockchain? He described it as like a big supercomputer in the sky, all powerful device that's just floating up there. Anybody can see it, anybody can write to it, but nobody can edit it. It's passed without somebody else also agreeing on that change.
This truth of blockchain, does that need to be widely accepted before we can use it to overhaul financial systems?
Definitely not. And like what I just said, I don't think it should ever be an expectation that everybody using a system knows everything about it. But I think at the highest of levels, people should know what's happening under the hood. And I think when you look at finance, we just don't interrogate the system at all. Like at the highest levels, what do people expect from like financial systems? They want to know their money is safe, protected, and working for them for whatever they signed up for.
And why, when you're innovating in fintech, why focus on savings and wealth?
There's a million things that people could focus on. And I just got so like shocked looking at the state of yield in savings and wealth. And everybody has their own thing that they get shocked by. For me, it was just like people are earning 0% in their bank account. Like I opened up a Chase college account because I went to high school and there was a Chase Bank branch like at the corner of that high school, like right outside. And my dad every day would like see that, like you should just open up a Chase account, right? That's why I opened that. Like not once did you interrogate that they're earning this net interest margin at a level of like 3 to 5% off of your money. That's just nuts. That's just absolutely nuts. So when you see that, and then you also look at peer-to-peer lending and all this other stuff that we do under the hood that I'm sure we'll get into, and you see that you could be getting 6 to 10%, if not even more, if you have that risk appetite on your money, that just shocked me. It's like there's this huge pile of wealth that's being created without my knowledgeable consent that I could be earning off of my money. So to me, that was like it was a vivid memory even last year. It was like when we started to learn about the state of DeFi or decentralized finance and all these lending markets that are out there, you could be owning your wealth and putting it to work and earn, like literally just making more money.
Yeah.
So that, to me, that was just a shock.
When it comes to, actually being on chain, what are the things that are most important?
Like my personal ranking of like what I care about, I need my money to be extremely liquid and accessible. I need it to be safe, so I can't take on a crazy amount of like risk because I pay for rent and buy food and everything. So like accessible, safe, and then after that, I think optimizing the yield or wealth that I could be getting off of it.
I mean, that's crazy in and of itself compared to what I was taught, which is you have your checking account and you have your savings account, and those things are separate, and you have to transfer things if you want to have it be liquid, because you really shouldn't take from your savings, even though you kind of can.
What's interesting is like those are also on the theme of like words and definitions. Like even now, I don't fully understand this distinction. I'm completely serious with you. Like between a checking and savings account, like even on Robinhood, I opened up their Robinhood banking app that they just rolled out, and same delineation, checking and savings. Not once am I writing a check or do I need to. The savings account is paying me yield, it looks like, and they're passing through treasury rates on it, like 4%, like a high yield savings account. I'm like, why do I have two? Like my money is sitting here and it's doing this thing. So like, I think we're beholden to weird, probably archaic phrases and systems that just mean nothing to most people anymore. Can I see the money? Is it easy to move it around? Can I invest in the things that I care about? That's like 99% of it.
I want to give the audience some more context about you and why you made this decision as a recent grad.
Not at all a journey that I thought I would go down. And I feel like most people, I mean, honestly, most people in general are probably surprised at the things that they've ended up doing compared to what they expected as kids. But for me, I was a huge debate nerd in high school, grew up in Massachusetts, just fell in love with like talking and researching things. Went to Harvard for my undergrad, and I was convinced that I'd do more researchy related stuff. I actually thought I'd study economics. Like that was the thing I was excited by. Literally freshman fall, it was COVID, it was 2020. I took this econ class for probably a month, and everything that I was learning was like partial derivatives, math, like formulas that are like very just abstract and divorced from reality. So like my crash course in like, this is my job in my life and I got to start seriously thinking about what I want to do is like, this makes no sense at all. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this sounds so divorced from like what I thought it would be. Started coding at the same time, took this intro to CS class. And by pure luck, I was in a club where they match kids up with investors. By pure luck, and it's COVID, there's nothing to do. Harvard's closed down. Like half of the classes in libraries, like you have to sit in your dorm, all like depressed, and it was getting like wintry and cold. I was in a virtual club where you just do research for investors, and that was the coolest part about my freshman fall by far, because you're starting to learn about stuff. I got matched with an investor who made a ton of money off of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I was like one of 3 people in this club of 50 kids that by pure luck, they just called me randomly being like, do you want to be on this team and do research for this guy? And I was like, sure, like I'm a freshman, I don't really care, I'll do anything. Not once. I remember Googling like Bitcoin and crypto right after, but I was like, I don't really know, it's some tech buzzword. And like by pure luck, I did that club, I started coding, and I did a bunch of crypto hackathons. So that was my like entryway into all things blockchain. And then you fast forward to my junior year, got lucky enough to get into this accelerator program that Andreessen Horowitz runs. Very different idea, and we pivoted at a time, but that was the start of what is now Axel.
And you grew up digitally native.
Yep.
And how do you think this impacts how you look at banks and their place and how safe and how efficient they really are?
So I think like the modern person, my age and especially younger even, is on their phone, investing on their phone, using a couple different apps, and constantly, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter, learning about new things that are good investments. And that's just such a different world. That's such a different world.
And where does trust play in when you're getting that information and learning about wealth and best tactics?
This is the one thing that I don't think has changed at all, and I don't think it'll ever change, even with tech going forward. Like, you do things because people you love and trust tell you about it. Yep. That's like 99% of it. Like, I opened my bank account because of that. Friends use apps because of referrals. Like, literally, if you look at your phone and you think about the last time that you've used an app, or you look at your financial stack, it's almost certainly parents, and then maybe number 2 is like friends and family, especially as you get older. So that's my current take on it, and that's why like, you can do all this stuff, you can make the app really good, but referrals and really like getting into communities is essential. I think that's how you make things spread.
So you predict a mass exodus away from the high yield savings accounts towards more decentralized finance. Tell us why. What
you're starting to see over the past year or two, which is incredibly exciting, traditional institutions are running towards this stuff, like running. It's like, if you go back to like the Bitcoin white paper or the origin of the industry, I think there's a very cyberpunk, like libertarian, we're not the system kind of mentality. Which is like, I think it's great when it comes to like what is truly new and what values do you not want to sell. But the direction that the industry has taken is one where like every politician in Washington, as of last week, is bipartisan, like passing this Clarity Act, which is about like stablecoin regulation. Every bank that you can name, truly every bank, has a huge digital assets team. They're probably already using it for payments, internal ledgers, like whatever it might be. And you have like, I forgot the stat, but like some crazy percentage of even not Americans, just people on Earth that hold crypto in some capacity. Like all this stuff is here. So I think the exodus is right now coming from those two directions. And I think it's reached a point of inevitable. Whereas like a year or two ago, maybe it's a question of like 90% confidence it'll happen, but are you sure? Like there's all this stuff could happen. Enshrined in US law, every major incumbent exploring this stuff, plus people like us like going and just on the ground right now getting people to switch over.
Right.
So it's interesting. It's like a very loud and silent exodus from these two directions.
Yeah, and if you just look at the economics of it, what's happening to your money when it's sitting in a high yield saving account?
Yeah.
We have 17 trillion in the US are sitting in high yield savings accounts, and the average is like 0.5%. And really the legacy anchor is at 4%.
Yeah.
So why are we accepting this status quo and at such less than 1%, almost 0%?
Yeah, it's interesting because you could play devil's advocate for like why this hasn't happened or like why this stuff maybe isn't going to be on the rise, which is like people just don't care. Like proof's in the data. You could be earning 5%. Why aren't you doing it? The reality of it is like people just don't have time. Like think about like 90% of the people that you interact with on a daily basis. Like you have a job. That job is almost certainly not related to optimizing your own personal finances unless you're like insanely wealthy. And even if you're a wealth manager, like you're probably like managing other people's money. You're not doing it for yourself, really. So like, I think that's the number one by a mile reason why nothing has happened. It's just like you have too much other stuff going on. That combined with banks hiding all of this, right? Like zero incentive to innovate because it's cannibalizing their existing business model. Like net interest margin, what you described, this spread between what they pay you, which is basically zero for most accounts, and the federal funds rate, like whatever the interest rates currently are, that's literally their revenue. So if you eat into that, you've just screwed them. Like they're screwing themselves. So they have no incentive to innovate, which is also why it's taken so long, I think, to even reach this point that we're at right now.
I'm glad you said that. That's so fair. I mean, all the things that we want to do on a daily basis that we need to do that we don't do, take care of ourselves, work out, get enough sleep. Let's zone in on RWAs, right? Explain what these are and how this really needs to become a more exciting part of people's daily life and their accounts.
It's definitely a buzzword because the phrase literally means real world assets, which like the name an asset class, like gold is real, the S&P is real, Tesla stock is real, Nvidia is real. The reason why it's exciting and why it even has a new acronym is because people are putting these assets on a blockchain. And like, again, the question, like, why even do this? Like most Americans can access these things. I can give just one example. Again, this theme of like, your money is not actually doing what you think it's doing for you and other people are profiting off of it. We're adding on gold to Axel, like actual gold exposure. When you look at the state of gold today, if you're an American or even abroad, you invest in some ETF, you buy physical gold at like a jeweler or some pawn shop or whatever. Both of those options give you 0% yield. Institutions, like actual banks, like name a bank, jewelry stores, like these big institutions, whatever it might be, somebody who's like a business, let's say, they're earning yield on their gold. You can go and lend it out, you can go put it to work, like all these different things. This is an example of like, blockchains have tokenized gold bars. You have full exposure to the actual gold. I'll ship you the gold bar whenever you want. So you're investing in the asset that you know and love. But by innovating on like the underlying infra, I can earn you more than you might get elsewhere. So that's just one example, and that's what we're adding on. Same thing works for like the S&P. Like what if you could lend out your shares? Like you're already invested in the stock. What if you can go and earn more on top of it? Because somebody else who maybe wants to take on leverage can go and borrow that against you. It gets really fun, and we're not there yet, unfortunately, but I think it's a question of when, not if. What if I can invest in like a local bakery? Or what if I can invest in like a solar panel farm? Or like finance the future of like AI data centers? Like when you look at where capital moves today, it is like venture capital, private equity, big institutions that are operating on behalf of extremely wealthy LPs. And that's like, there's a reason why they're even called private market investments, because like it's gate kept to people who are in certain rooms. Why not democratize access to that stuff? Like it's not good for everybody. Like the people who need capital get it from a wider source. And then most people like me, my mom, my friends could go and put that to work. So we're not there yet with those types of examples, but I think we're heading towards it.
Yeah, and that's really exciting. Axel started with stablecoin yield, as you said, and then now you've expanded. What allowed you to make those shifts, and what's coming up?
Yeah, this is probably like the most classically like startup advice thing that we've taken and acted on and seen like results of. We just talked to people. Like we rolled out stablecoin yield August in beta, and then the mobile apps came out in November. everything from the landing page to how we marketed was just like best place to park the dollar. Already very punchy, right? Already very grand claim. Like how on earth do you get 6 to 10%? We built that out. We're still optimizing it all the time. But then we just asked people, like in January, we just spoke to like hundreds of our users and even cold LinkedIn DMs to people who we thought were in our initial focus group. What do you want to see next? Like what's something that's interesting? Crypto people, non-crypto people, folks who have no idea what's going on, those who do. And Bitcoin came up a lot, in addition to gold and some other assets. And that's when we started to think about this like as a broader vision than just dollar-based yield. And I think when you hear the phrase neobanks, or frankly what a lot of people in the blockchain world are doing right now, we're so obsessed with stablecoins that we're not going beyond to like wealth as a whole for people. This does not mean like meme coins. This does not mean like what Coinbase or the exchanges have done where you list hundreds of assets. I actually think the problem with a lot of finance today and fintech today is people have so much decision paralysis. There's like a million things to pick. Like if I'm scrolling through a big list, I have no fucking clue what any of these things are. It's not really focused. That's when like we started to get inspired to like, what if we're just the best wealth app on earth? Yeah. And like, yeah, this is the part, I think this really sums up like how I view the company and what I get so excited about. Like you ask any human on earth, what is a long-term investment? Not even today, like ask some guy 300 years ago, what's a long-term investment? Ask some guy like 1,000 years ago. You're probably getting an answer that's like 1 of 10 maybe. We could just like try to list them off. Cash or some cash equivalent for whatever the country is. Bonds, which is like kind of similar, I guess, like US T-bills, Brazilian bonds, Indian bonds. Physical metals, like gold, silver, whatever it might be. Real estate, land, property. So you got like 4. Bitcoin is, of course, the newest that I think has finally proven itself as like a hedge against many different forces and uncorrelated with others, like immutable money, let's say. Probably this list of 5 to 10 things, where I guess index funds arguably, or like blue chip stocks. When you look at each of those assets, I think we started to think like, how do we just make those, like purchasing and earning on those the best way imaginable? And like, again, that's been the mantra for everything that we have. Number 1, you own the money. It's not some third party that can screw you over or go under. You always own the money. Number 2, is it the cheapest and easiest way to get it? So cheapest is like, we don't charge fees anywhere close to what the exchanges might charge, which is usually 1 to 2% for every digital asset transaction. The yield is also important. What if you could put it to work? That's a strong 0 to 1 peer-to-peer lending to put those assets to work. And then all these other ones that we'll get to, like, can you make it tax advantage for people in America, whatever. But that's, back to your question, it's like best wealth app on earth, go beyond just dollars, cover every asset that people view as wealth or under this definition of wealth, and just be the best at it. Yeah. And I think that's useful for people. I think it's good for people. It's easy. It solves the decision paralysis problem. Everyone resonates with some aspect of it.
I'm glad that you went through the list because traditionally all of those things are very separate. And even, I mean, traditionally as in like now, different apps, right? So you have your stocks, you have your crypto, you have your gold locked up somewhere or in your jewelry case. So, and you're talking about bringing it all into one space. How do you differentiate yourself from robo-advisors and these type of apps that have been coming out the last decade?
Yeah. Robo-advisors are interesting because I think they have the same spirit as what I was just describing. Like the spirit of assemble a portfolio for you, go and invest in these different things. They don't check a lot of the boxes. Number 1 is probably fees. Usually they charge a management fee. Robinhood actually has a product that came out semi-recently. You need 100K to go and use it. It's like managed portfolios or something. That's obviously a barrier for most people, like $100,000 to go and invest in this thing. And they take a management fee of like 1%, I think, off of it. The actual products that you're getting are not differentiated at all. Like when I describe what I have, earn 2% on your Bitcoin, earn 6 to 10% on your dollars, earn 3% on your gold. That yield component does not exist with any robo-advisor. So I think, again, they failed the test of have you optimized that asset to the extent that you can for the consumer. And then like I think on the accessibility side, they've made amazing strides. Like being able to have Wealthfront and Betterment on my phone is useful. It's still a lot of painful setup. A lot of people can't use these things. It's not globally accessible necessarily, probably only for US users for half of it. Every asset that I've named, anybody on earth can go and invest in. And like, of course, getting into the ecosystem, maybe we have to use third parties and you have to KYC for aspects of it, but it's super accessible.
Right now, where you are with Axel, what do you think is your biggest opportunity, like in 2026?
I think the biggest opportunity is just getting in front of these people, really. And I think a lot of what we've done with like content and distribution is like trying to do that really well. But like, that's the biggest opportunity. Like the company or product that's able to just get eyeballs and tell the story in a succinct, meaningful way, which like we haven't even perfected, right? That's the opportunity. Because it's so greenfield. I'm not worried about competition. I would love for more people to be doing this because it helps everybody with the narrative. It's just, can you get in front of people?
Yeah. Yeah, and people are not. And so whoever's testing now is going to be a big winner.
Absolutely.
So what have you discovered so far in what you're testing, getting people's eyeballs on your team, what you're doing, getting to know you guys?
Yeah. maybe it's me as a person and everybody on the team has a different answer. I feel like I gravitate towards similar phrases, which is interesting because you don't realize that until you're forced to like stand outside of a booth for like 2 or 3 hours and then have hundreds of people go by like, hey sir, are you interested in this? Like whatever it might be. I feel like the phrase just on the dollar side that's resonated with most people for me, and it's probably word for word, I say this to everybody, it's like, banks take your money, they lend it out, they pocket the interest. What if you could lend direct? That reasoning, whether it's like a 60-year-old or a teacher, like whoever it might be, everybody's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like they don't question the premise. If you lead with like blockchain-based wealth management app or tech, eyes glaze over, I don't trust that shit, my bad, like I'm moving on. That's my biggest learning from those in-person discussions. We have all these channels, right? Like we've done a ton of like influencer collabs, something I never thought I would ever do, which is also just part of the joy of being able to build in a new space with new people. Tons of Instagram and TikTok, trying to do funny videos. I think like I've learned you have to resonate and connect with people where they're at and then start to tell the story from there. It's very hard to come from a place of like, here's this totally different brand new thing that you should just start to trust or explore. It needs to be like, we're here where you are, we live the same lives, this is what's wrong with the system today, and this is how we can maybe make it better.
I mean, on this front, on getting in front of people, on content, on figuring out how to get the message across, what do you think your biggest challenge is?
Yeah, I still think it's very top of funnel. It's like, if you get the eyeballs, then the rest of it, even if inefficient, is starting to work, and we're seeing proof of that with our early data. Like every little detail, like you're seeing people set up recurring deposits, you're seeing people who watched an Instagram video 5 times finally be like, oh, what's Axel? Like maybe I'll look into this thing and like go to the website. Like the anecdotes and early proof are there. The biggest challenge is like we're not able to get that top of funnel good enough, which is why I'm so big on like right now, the mode that we're in is like, let's just go viral. Let's make this content go mainstream. That's what I care about, which I don't think most startups are doing well, really, which is a little sad.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the things you're really putting out there to go viral. It's like, this has nothing to do with the product even or wealth management. Like not everything has to do exactly with your product. It's like, you don't have to just always be talking about your product, what it does, all the features.
We're learning this in real time too, right? Like, believe me, I've had many nights or moments of just like, wait, should I even be doing this? Is this like a terrible idea? Like, is this the right? But I mean, there's this macro lesson, and like, if you're not experimenting, you're not going to know. So like, you should absolutely try it and then be ready to react quickly. But I think my biggest learning is like, I walk around the office and now people are like, oh, I saw this Instagram video, or I'll get DMs from people who I met in a very serious business context, like 2 years ago, even being like, yeah, I saw this thing. Like, hell yeah, you guys are killing it.
Thank you.
Like, I think there's this theme around like, if you're able to go mainstream and solve the top of funnel, you've built up this level of social proofing that matters like a lot.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's almost, you can really analyze it, but at the end of the day, if you left curve it, you're building a consumer app, you need to resonate with people, go and resonate with people. Yeah. So for us, like we do office skits a lot. It fits the personality, it feels human. Some guys scrolling, they find it funny. Is this at all what you like, would a bank ever do this? Like, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. I think you're starting to see fintech companies realize how important it is. Like you'll see entire companies do like funny video accounts or like make fun of themselves or do publicity stunts. Like,
and something I just want to point out is, you said people you meet in the professional setting.
Yep.
And when we're looking at, LinkedIn, you looked at professional settings, and this misconception that anybody who's a partner or potential investor, any sort of B2B aspect of your business, that like, will this hurt that? Like, do these people just want to see all the dry stuff? I
feel like every few days there's actually a version of this. Like I was on a call with like a big brokerage provider, a huge brokerage provider. Like they powered Robinhood back in the day before they started doing it on their own. And I had the most serious first call ever, like with this guy. It was like, we're running through all the details, the pricing, like whatever it might be. And then he sends me an email, like with the letterhead and everything after saying like, my wife saw your TikTok, haha. And I'm like, what? It's the most like random thing. Like I never would have expected that in that context. So I think it's always net good. It's always net good to bring awareness to what you're doing. A portion of why you're even doing this is to talk about the product and sell the story and the vision. And not all of our videos are like pure funny with no relation to the product. Like we have a level that's like funny bits related to wealth or how banks are screwing you, or like street interviews about like how much money do you have? What's the biggest purchase you've made? Like being adjacent to this core theme is essential, but not everything needs to be like, it seems too ad-based and shilly. I think it's like, especially with this generation and like the way people consume stuff, there's so much content out there. If you're not relatable, it's the number one thing. You got to be relatable, and then everything else comes. Where
can people find you, and where can people sign up and test out some money in there?
Yeah, it's super simple. We're Get Axel on all socials, so just GETAXAL. Before I raised any money, I bought the domain ax.al. It's like,
I like it.
To me, it was really punchy. It's like the country of Albania. Like you got all the .ais, you got .al now, which is sick. So you can go to that too. We also have axel.com. But yeah, that's where you can find us. Live on the App Store and Google Play Store is all super easy.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me today. Honestly, this conversation is so much fun. And I think that this is like such an educational moment right now, like that people are shifting into.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's always cool to like talk through the vision and like share things with people. But of course, like everybody's different. Like the conversation that I have with my like roommate is different from like the random guy at a conference is different from you. Like, I mean, that's my main takeaway always. It's like you need to just meet people where they are and just if number one, you need to know what you're doing and like why you're doing it. But translating that to everybody is the number one like defining factor. Yeah.